Good evening, people. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey and another beautiful night in Rwanda. I was just doing a live stream and I accidentally got turned off. It got deleted. I can't believe it. Yeah, I was almost finished actually. And a pop-up went on my screen, so I just went to remove it, but it jumped to that link and it deleted my live stream. And it's not even like in storage. It didn't even store it. So, oh well. So yes, I'm going to start all over again, but I'll try to pick up the speed. Yeah, I want to talk about two important things. Um, MoMo scams and about life expectancies. So let me start with the first about, in essence, both topics is about protecting your health and wealth. Okay, so the money aspect. Earlier today, my cell phone rang, and I picked up and to answer the call, and I noticed though on the screen, I did not recognize the number. And when someone that I know calls me, I store it in my phone and write the person's name and where I know them. Okay. But this one just had numbers. And earlier this week, I did get the same person called me back to back. And because I didn't pick up, my phone was in another location. And I had to run upstairs to get it. And, because I heard it ringing. So they had called twice actually. And then I picked it up when he called back the second time. And when I picked up the phone, he spoke to me. Well, he greeted me in Kinyarwanda, and I responded back in Kinyarwanda. That's basically all that I know. And I said, "Who is this?" in English. And he responded, "Do you speak Kinyarwanda?" I said, "No." And then click, he hung up. Okay. Another pop up on my screen, but I'm not going to touch it. Not going to touch it. Okay. So, um, so today, when my phone rang, um, I pick up, and the person spoke English with a local accent. And he said, "Oh, I just sent money uh, to your MoMo account by mistake. Did you get the message?" And I knew right away in my spirit that this is a scam. I just felt it in my bones. Cause see, with MoMo, how it works here, MoMo is mobile mobile money, and how it basically works that your cell phone number is associated with your bank account. It's like linked, and you could send money, send and receive money. And it's really, I like it. But they do charge you a fee many times, most of the times, using it. Um, so yes, and when you type it in the phone number, um, there's a prompt on the screen and gives the name of the person, how much, and some other gobbledygook. And I always read back the name to make sure, to let them know that I typed the right number, because you can make a mistake. And I show the screen and they nod, okay. And then you complete the transaction. So it would be hard for them to accidentally send money to me. And he was very like rush. Did you get the message that I sent you money. And then I noticed that a prompt did come on the screen at that point while as he's talking to me. And I'm seeing it, but something just doesn't sit right with me. And now when I'm analyzing it, now when you do the MoMo, that it goes through. And then the prompt on the screen. So he's calling me before he's even sending the message. That I even get the message. So that message will come on that screen first before he called me. So there's a lot of bits. That's BS. Yeah, how could that happen? You send the money. Why would you think he sent it to the wrong number? You already know who's gonna get it because you have my name. And yeah, so as I'm talking to him, it prompts up. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. Um, so I responded back in a suspicious manner, like I forget exactly what I said, but I said, "Well, why would you be asking me if I have a prompt on my screen or something like that?" And yeah, I was just kind of just something didn't sit right with me about it. And I said, look, well, I don't know whether I got a message from you um, because my phone, I wasn't with my phone. I only heard the phone ring, and that's why I picked up. I wasn't with, I didn't have my phone on me, so I wouldn't know whether I received a message. But then as I'm talking, that's when the message went on the screen. So I think what they do, it's these computers. It's all electronic. They use these computers, and they once the person picks up the phone and and the guy is talking to you, they electronically have it prompt on their screen so you believe it, and so you can give them money. Yeah, they. And because you see a prompt on the screen, you believe it. But it's not true. And they could put things like things electronically. It's a scam. So, but the person hangs up at my questioning him, like, well, I wasn't next to the phone to know if a message came on my screen, and then he hung up on me, and then I went back in my home. And I say, hey, let me check if there is a real transaction, because I looked at the prompt that came on the screen that was stored, and on the bottom it said that okay, it had the person's name, amount sent, and then on the bottom it said that I blocked that number. So I said, what is this? Then I checked out there's a way of checking, like getting a mini statement to see what transactions transpired. And the only transaction was from yesterday and nothing for today. So I'm glad that I verified that. Yeah, people, be careful and protect your money. You have scammers. They get access to your phone number. They could have things pop on your screen to make you think you received something that you did not. You go in your own personal account and verify what transactions were sent to your account. And to be double sure, go to your phone carrier and have them verify what was put on your account. If anything if anything went to your account, okay? That's very important. They're getting real clever, real clever. And luckily I have that suspicious mind. I guess when people try to scam you, in life, you start, you start to wise up about the things that happen. And things, people try to scam me back in America, big time. Yeah, thievery is universal. Thievery is universal, people. So protect your assets, protect your money. And there's a lot of electronic theft. A lot of people could send you emails from like large companies. Oh, you made this purchase or such and such, and they make it look like the actual company, and it's a false one. They lie. Yeah, how they get your info? Yeah, they're really savvy. Yeah, don't even open them. Don't even open those emails because it could be a trap. Don't even open it. Just delete it. Yeah. So I just thought that was important to relay. And hey, is that Tammy online? Yeah, the phone. I got disconnected. If that's Tammy on board, yeah, my her was on there. I did a live stream not too long ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, and I got disconnected from it. So I'm doing the live stream over again. Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to talk about, like, as I mentioned, you don't, you want to protect your wealth. You also want to protect your health. And this portion of this live stream is based on this video that I saw before I started this live stream. It was a video I saw, a young man, and he had a question about what country has the longest life expectancy, and then he wanted to contrast with what country has the least life expectancy. Monaco has the longest life expectancy of 90 years of age. And the brief variables that attribute their life expectancy, money, they can pay to get things done. They have a large medical large number of medical doctors for the number of people that reside in the country. What else? Oh, yeah, those are the main ones that stand out. And in contrast, the country with the least life expectancy, which was a shocker to me, um, was Nigeria. I mean, I hope. I mean, I don't know about that because I heard that Nigeria, um, at least 12 years ago when I was studying nutrition, that Nigeria, they have one of the healthiest cardiovascular system. So I'm surprised to hear that they have the shortest life expectancy, allegedly, of, I think they said 56, 55 or 56, something like that. Um, yeah. So what else happened? What else? So what was the characteristics of Nigeria? Um, they don't have many doctors there to handle the population. And so with that, if they have to go to the doctor, they have a long wait. They may have to wait months to be seen by a doctor. The water the water is brown. And that water outside, you see, is the same water they poo-poo in. The other factor is, um, what do you call it? Malaria. Malaria. Yeah. I had something like malaria once. I had dengue fever. Yeah, it's the same, you get bit by a mosquito and you get sick. Yeah, I was young at the time. I was in my 20s. And it's not a nice thing to get. Nope. But oh, I was shocked about this, about the Nigeria. I mean, I hear so many things about Nigeria. Some of the wealthiest people uh on the planet is from Nigeria. I listened to this program, maybe it could have been 2 days ago. Some of the richest cities, some of the richest cities are in Africa. And Nigeria was one of the countries, but a city in the country that you have a lot of wealth. And I mean, Nigeria is notorious about a lot of things, money laundering, um, those love scams, you know? And it's like, how could something like that happen? How could they have, I mean, the technology that they do have, why why wouldn't they have the technology to get clean water? I mean, water is essential, essential. And I was also surprised how short they were. Yeah, the person that did the interview was a European, a young guy, probably late 20s, early 30s, real tall. He looked very athletic, but lean. He looked extremely healthy. And the people came up to like halfway on his chest. I was like surprised. The size difference. But he showed videos. I mean, he was very respectful, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful either to report this. That is not my means to reason for talking about this. I was a nutrition major, and we had a study about disparities, health disparities. And there's health disparities in America's Black population that I'm a part of. And I always got depressed about these statistics that I had to read about. And that was like 12 or 13 years that I finished, got my degree in it. Um, so when I see stories like the one I just watched today about Nigeria, I mean, Nigeria was known to have the healthiest cardiovascular system, even better than America's. So to see that their life expectancy is only in the 50s, I was shocked. Um, how could they let this happen? They're very intelligent people there. So how could this happen? Water is a bait. You think in a community, they will develop something for access to water, for an infrastructure. Like you have roads, you got, you build an infrastructure for water. People, please. You have all these, I just understand it. You have these rich people that live in these countries. But it's such a disparity, a sharp division between the haves and the have-nots. And I just couldn't understand it. it's so much diversity there, the multitude languages, foods, clothing, the phenotypes of the people, such diversity. But you think with diversity that you have creativity and uh, savvy people to establish clean water. Why don't they want to produce clean water? I feel that, you know, I live in Africa now, and I do have questions, people. I question why? Why? I'm not here to shame anybody. I don't understand. I don't understand. Basic stuff. Water. But yet everybody, you see in some of these countries, they want to wear Western clothes because they want people to think they got money, but they won't invest in clean water. It'll make a game change. Having clean water so you can take a bath, you can cook your food, just everything. Why would you have a sewer? Your drinking water is where you poo in. I don't understand. Excuse me. I don't understand this. What motivates countries to ignore water, clean water, access for everybody? I start to feel that some individuals are selfish. They think that because they have, see, they really, people really don't respect other people. They don't respect people who have less than them or perceived to be less. There's a contemptness against others. Uh, they really don't care about other people. You know what else that I notice? Why on the continent of Africa, when someone builds one of those modern type houses, they have giant fences. It's a wall around the house. Why is that? Why is that? I mean, I'm from America. The only places that have very tall walls are those gated communities, like in Bel Air. And remember before the late singer Michael Jackson, he people argued about him because he had a giant fence because it was taller than his neighbors. So his was taller than most of the people there in that community. But when everybody else has a big fence, no one says, but Michael's fence that he had installed was even bigger. He didn't like it, and they said, "Oh, it's an ordinance problem." Wow. Yeah, why is that? Why on the continent people put up these giant walls? I wonder. So, yeah, why does the continent here, why doesn't it want to establish a water system? They have, after all these years in dealing with Europeans, wouldn't people, you need to learn from your enemies. You need to learn about your enemies, your colonizers. Learn from them. They use your energy to produce wealth for themselves. Why can't you do things and earn wealth for yourself? Turn it onto yourself wealth. Why? Why haven't you mastered it? Why are you acting like like you're a scavenger? It's like a spirit of lack. I don't understand it, people. And you know what else what bothered me about this? Now, there is these festivals and things. Um, some of these places on the continent, um, they practice, some people call it witchcraft, some people call it voodoo, or whatever you want to call it. How come it seems like, I mean, it's in America too. Why it seems like the people who practice these ancient systems of spirituality, why they tend to be the poorest? Why aren't their guides helping them? They have all these shrines and all these things, and somehow their guides don't listen to them. But you go to other regions on this planet, they have less number of these shrines or churches, places of worship, and their guide seems to help them. Their guide is a God of wealth. They are prospering. They are healthier. Why is it? Why haven't people study these people who are wealthy? How do they do it? Some of these, look at them. How? They're thinking. Yeah, places like in South Africa. And they were, saw a video that they were complaining that there were disparities. And, I'm sorry, I said South Africa. I mean, it is in South Africa too, but I meant to say Namibia. They have a big disparity of wealth. And, the boycotting. You have the Chinese that are there, the government allowed them to come there, and the people are getting angry. The locals have to pay taxes, and these companies from China don't have to pay any tax. So they got angry, and they were threatening them that they are to leave, to pay them the tax money or else. Yeah, I think in part, see, there was the other issues that the land, that there's about 6% of white people that live in Namibia, but they control the mass majority of the land, mass majority. So if colonialism ended in Namibia, and now they have a female president, how come, I'm sorry, there's a plane coming. I'm sorry. Plane, plane's coming. So it's still there. Okay, okay, yeah, I can't talk with that plane going. Yeah, the disparities and the land. I'm going to say this, but and I know some people aren't going to like it. Um, yes, you have regions in Africa where the indigenous people don't own the fertile land. Very few own the land, and the minority own mass property. Well, people, some people may have land, but they know how to work it. They know how to farm. They have equipment also, and they also have a market. People, you need to study your enemies. You need to study how these people farm. You need to find out how they get those machines. You need to go to school to learn about the farming industry. There are people with land and they don't know what to do with it. You have people, the property, they have a property, and the ground that they live on, there's no grass, no trees, dust, 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 and dry, 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 dry. They don't even try to put a little garden in their own property. And I don't understand it. They, I mean, when you don't have a garden or something, and you just have dust, and this dust could go in your lungs and give you asthma. Hello, hello. The trees clean the air. Why they don't know that? And it looks prettier. I don't understand some of these people. Why don't you try to grow a garden or something? It's the mindset. That's all they know. Some people, they don't bathe. Some of the people, they don't bathe their children. And I think it goes beyond because, it's something wrong upstairs. That's what I'm thinking. It's not about the land, because what you have, you're not even handling. You're not handling what you have. There are people like I used to live in the state of Maui, Hawaii. And I met this guy of Portuguese ancestry. You have a lot of Portuguese that live in Maui. They are phenomenal when it comes to gardens. He was in a homeless shelter, and there was a little patch of grass or something, just like a 3 by 5 piece of something right next to the dwelling he lived in. He planted a little garden. Amazing. Yet some people, they know gardening. But the people here, um, some people that I experience, I should say, they don't seem to have that, that, that special, I mean, you know, they need to go to school to learn about perfecting their field of what do you call it, horticulture. They need to learn something how to take care of the plants or the diseases of plants, how to prune, how to, they need to learn this. And also, like I mentioned, like in Nigeria, they have a lot of malaria. Tons of people die every year of malaria, the children, and the dysentery due to bad water. There's a plant out there. It's called Artemisia afra. Artemisia afra. Another name for it is African wormwood. African wormwood. It is said to be miraculous in treating and preventing malaria. Why isn't this plant all over the place on the continent? Why? Why, people? The plant is abundant in the country of South Africa, and I'm trying to get the seeds of that plant. I want to get it. It grows like weeds. Hello? Yeah, you take the leaves um, and you drink it like a tea. And you could use it as a preventive, like as when the malaria season starts up, you take it as a preventive. And if you do get it, you drink that tea and it knocks it out. Why don't they have the thing in the country? Why? It grows like weeds. And it's that particular one, the one that grows in Africa, in southern Africa. It's that particular one that works wonders for malaria. Every house should have a garden with that plant on it. Again, I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm not a doctor, people. I'm not a doctor. And you go to your own personal licensed medical physician and ask them their advice about malaria, of treating malaria and preventives. Okay, but if I had access to that little bush, I would take that tea for my personal wellness. Yes, Artemisia afra, also known as African wormwood. Yeah, there are all different types of wormwoods. There's some types of wormwood that is illegal in this country. So you make sure you get the one that is legal. And I was told that Artemisia afra is okay to use here. But either way, you have things that should be easily accessible, but it's not. One of it is transportation, importing, exporting. And you see that the very essential things that we need, we got less of. But secondhand clothing and cheap electronics that break after a few usage. That's what comes into the country. So if you want to start a business or something, or build something, there's inferior material here, and so you can't get quality work, quality in, quality out. But you don't have it. They're not bringing it in. They're not bringing in the quality goods. They're just about like a filler. I call it like a filler. They're not about quality. And that pisses me off. I bought a kitchen appliance and it's not working. And it's like, I'm angry because you know where these appliances are coming from, and I don't want it from that country. How do you get good appliances? Why does crap always go to black people? Why does Africa allow shit in its countries? Garbage in, garbage out. They're not, it's like, doesn't anybody want to live healthy? Why don't you have and develop a water system? Why is it that you have people who, with these exotic uh, faith-based systems, but their God doesn't listen to them, but the God of the European and the Westerner seems to be hearing their prayers? People, you better start examining who you serve. If your system of faith does not serve you, why do you serve it? It's just a question. It's just a question. Does your faith serve you, or do you have to serve it and become a slave to it? Who wants to be a slave? Who? Does anyone want to be a slave? Are you a slave to a system? Are you a slave and just kind of walk around and just dying, not thriving? Why aren't people thriving? Even in America, you have the same type of mentality. You have communities that are not thriving, but people seem to use their money. What money they do get, what do they use it for? Fancy shoes or sneakers, gold jewelry, but the kids are reading below level. They're illiterate, but yet they spend all their money on trash, on things that will not equip them for tomorrow. They're short-sighted. And I'm seeing more and more people who are short-sighted. They don't think long term. And I'm seeing that in some countries, they are longevity in their thinking. It is amazing how they think. They think years ahead. They think they think tomorrow. They think decades ahead. Here, people just think about the moment. They haven't developed, they have all these muscles. They have a bunch of young ass people here. 70% of about 70 plus percent of the people are under the age of 30, so they have muscle power. Why aren't they using their muscle power to build, to plant those necessary plants, such as the Artemisia afra that fights off malaria? It grows like weeds, people. Why aren't people growing gardens? They're growing dust balls, dust, hard like a rock, some of these houses. And it's the mindset. I mean, home is a home. It's what you do with it. Half full or half empty. Doesn't matter if it's a mud house or something made out of stone and masonry and stuff like that. That knowledge. Some people just have the knowledge to, I mean, some people, you want to be around them. It's like money and ideas. It's not just money, ideas. Some people have phenomenal ideas. They are thinkers. They're not like like scavengers in their mindset, like they just living in the moment. They have a development, a poise about them that is really breathtaking to watch. Some people, they just have things attract them, and you want to be around them. They're amazing. The mind is something. I think some communities are being dumbed down. Let me explain what I mean. Um, Let me explain what I mean, people. Um, yes, I will sound like I'm generalizing, okay? But I'm just going by what I see. Now, I'm from New York City, and you have a lot of people from East Asia in particular that live in New York, and they are thriving as a group. Asians are the richest and healthiest and live the longest in America. They outdo white people. Hello. And blacks are one of the least healthy. Hello again. Why is that? Why is that? What are Asians doing? Well, one thing, they buy within their own community. So they eat their own food, people. Eat your own food. Yes, people eat their own food, tend to live longer than eating out other people's foods. Yeah, they have a better network. They study longer hours, and also they are selected for these school programs. See, no matter how smart they are, they're given opportunities and they take advantage of those opportunities. But if the country was against them, they'll close doors on them and say, I'm sorry, we cannot bring you to, we don't accept you in our school. You could put them in ghettos, right? But no, they are wanted in America. But you got to ask yourself, people, that what are they doing? Why, and then, oh yeah, what, okay, almost forgot. Okay, so I mentioned what's happening in New York. They're prospering very, very well. Then let's go over now to Hawaii, where most of the people in Hawaii are Asian or Asian Pacific blend of people. And there is a dumbing down in Hawaii. They're not Ivy School leaguers there. You don't see them excelling and all that stuff. They're a different breed, different mindset entirely. They act differently too. Same countries, different outcome. Hawaii, um, the people, um, they're not encouraged to go to school. You don't need to go to school to say aloha. It is a tourist um, driven um, system. So you just smile and just be polite and keep the tourists coming. And that's all that they really raised for in Hawaii. But in places like New York City, they learn math, the sciences, you know, they are tech. They go into uh, technology and medicine and health. Yeah, they are the richest in America, and they live the longest, and they are the healthiest people in America. But in Hawaii, um, you wouldn't think you're looking at the same people. Yeah. So what? So what's happening? The environment, and so that's letting me know that the environment that people in can make or break you. The environment that you live in could make or break you. And here on the continent of Africa, the environment that they live in is it's like a rat race. You do have people who do make good money, but everybody else is left behind. That's what I'm seeing. And I think that's why they put up the giant walls in Africa, because they know that those disparities are there. And the concept of your tribe is no longer there because now it's about nation. So people really don't know each other intimately. They're not connected anymore as in the tribes. It's now a nation, so you have a leader in charge of millions of people. Everybody's disconnected from each other, and everybody's fighting to be on top. It's really something. It's very sad, people. It's very, very sad. They're really nice people. But it's like their mind is like, it's what it is. And then, it's really something what so-called education does. Like now you have private schools in Africa. And so you have some who are being groomed to be working for a Western-based company, that type of mentality. Oh, yes. And they don't care about anybody else. They're in their own circle and they don't mix. They don't mix. Those people go to those private schools, through private elementary schools and secondary. They don't associate with others. And it's just what it is. It's sad. And it's bringing me also to say, because I mentioned a couple of days ago about energy. There was something that happened, and I forget exactly what happened, but my thoughts about this situation was about energy. Um, why do we need energy? Like electricity. And water. Why don't they have water systems here? What did people do to live 200 years ago? You had kingdoms back then in the day, right? Weren't they thriving? So how come they're not thriving now? What's going on, people? I think, what I want to think, what I think I need to think about, it's not about how to get more money. Money is paper. Money is not real anyhow. How do you create energy? How to create energy? You know, how do you create a system to gather water? These are the two primary gifts a society could have: an energy source that you can channel that energy to do work for you. Picking your crops, driving to work, right? Watering your plants, watering your animals. How did we get trapped in this, what they call civilization? Civilization is not your friend. It never was. And yes, some of us are thriving in these civilizations, but you have to know enough and be grafted in. Not everybody reaches the top. Not everybody. Every society has its haves and have-nots. How do you reach that pinnacle? How? How do some people, like, you have billionaires, and they just seem to be, when you analyze them, why are they still, why are they still hungry? They're thirsty for more and more money, and they're billionaires. And somehow they seem to get corrupt and want to control others rather than themselves. They want to buy up all the land, not to even do any planting, but just to hoard it. These are not your friend, people. These billionaires are not your friend. They're part of the problem. Civilization, I've mentioned this several times on my videos. Civilization is not our friend. Civilization is your enemy. Civilization pulls you away from the creator, from nature, from the natural order of things, and then a perversion happens in that society. Don't you notice that in these highly technical, industrialized nations that they have a lot of perversions? And now that they're not living long, their life expectancy now is decreasing. See that? See this civilization technologies, it reach it reaches a peak and then it dives down. Look what's happening in America now. It's diving down fast, people. It reached its peak. You have all these people who want to race to America, and I think America is going to fall. I hope not. I pray not, because it was my home, but it's not safe there anymore, and I left. I fled from America. I fled from there for my safety, people. What is going on? Isn't it backwards? These billionaires are not helping society. They are creating slaves. They're creating even these robots to replace you. And you worship these people. I'm not going to mention his name. You worship him. And you worship that other guy that had this computer company. You worshiped him too. He passed away. You worship all these people who are really your enemies. They create things to hold you bondage. And they hold you bondage because they control the system. They make the rules. And these same type of people, I think, make up your faith-based systems. They create a system. It's your faith-based system is a program. It's a pre-program to make you susceptible to stupidity. So they could then usher in so-called civilization a system to control your life. It looks bright and shiny on the outside, but it is deadly. Look at these cars. They develop cars, right? And then they develop gasoline for it, and it pollutes the air, right? They have you work many, many miles away from home, so you don't really know the people in that where you work. You really don't know the community there. You're pulled away from your community, your home. People aren't tied to their community anymore because they're tied to the job. And once they finish with you on the job, they throw you out. See that? You may go this one and then they throw you out. Isn't that sad, people? Isn't it sad? Yeah, technology is not your friend. And money isn't your friend. Didn't the scripture say money, the love of money is the root of all evil? See, that's how they capture you. That's how they capture the masses of people. They have you work for money, not for the skill. You see these beautiful buildings, in the medieval times. They had a high level of technology in building these infrastructures, and the infrastructures were built with a specificity of a purpose. It was to fulfill a purpose. They don't know how to build like that anymore. Now it's just a cubicle. So all the buildings now is like a square or rectangle. And I did a video many years ago that like I was looking outside my window when I was doing the video, that these buildings, like in Manhattan in America, these high-rise buildings are like antennas, and they are like batteries, and it's to gather energy, it's to harness energy. It gets so intense in these big cities. It's to harness. And these people get so stressed out. They're making a lot of money. Yeah, I used to work in I worked in many industries, and one of the industries was the financial industry. And I quit the industry. There were some of the nastiest people on the planet. They make a lot of money, and then they start to abuse one another. I didn't like the politics. I didn't like the lack of respect. And so I said, I'm out of here. Yeah, there was an incident that happened when the head secretary, she sensed that I wanted to leave, that I was job hunting. So guess what she said? Oh, you got to come to my office, well, her boss's office, and dust his file cabinets and to do an inventory. She's the secretary. She should handle her own file system. So I remember what my father had told me years prior. He says, do your 9 to 5 and go home. Don't matter what they have you tell you, what they tell you to do. Just do it and go home. So I said to myself, okay, thinking what my father told me. And I did not want to do the dusting because it was going to mess up my business suit that I was job hunting in. So I took my time doing a file inventory. And when it was that time for me to leave, I shut everything up. And I love that it happened on a Friday. And then that Monday, I wrote my letter of resignation. Yes, I did. I wrote my letter of resignation, and I said, well, I'm going back to school. Well, that did turn out. I did. At the end of that month, I did go to school. I was fed up. Yes, they had. I mean, it was a lot of bells and whistles that the job offered, but I just got fed up. These nasty people on Wall Street, they're nasty. And yeah, the company later on was on television because they had gotten a lot of complaints, how the maltreatment, and they complaining, and they would interview these people. Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't my imagination. I got out of that job. Some things you just can't tolerate anymore, even though, it was a plush office and they have a nice cafeteria. Oh, they had good ass food there, gourmet food, gourmet style food. Oh, yeah. And it was so inexpensive. Oh, man, it was so damn good. Yeah, they had everything there. And I said, I am out. I'm out. Yes, civilization is never your friend. It's always seeking a way to keep you away from home, married to the job, and they could replace you at any time. And we get these health diseases because of the stress. Stress can kill you. Yeah, civilization and being married to the job is not your friend. You don't know the people in your community. You are just detached. And you become dependent on these technologies that are, that they're telling you what they're going to do. They're going to replace you, human being, with a robot. And you worship these people that develop these technologies. Oh, you're so smart, right? They're your enemies. They hate you. Look at these people. They don't want to live with regular people. They have like their own island or something like that. They hate people. They're not real. You know, these people might be passing for human. They may not even be human. Yeah. They may, a real human. They don't act like we're human. Look at them. Look at the billionaires. Look at them. Look at their skin. Are these real people? Are they real people? And don't they kind of act the same? But they really don't want people to know about them. Why is that? They could just take the money and just go be away from everybody and live their own paradise life. But no, it is about controlling you humans. It's about having you focus on the money rather than the craft. People are losing how to do the craft. How do you sew? Well, they have machines that do all the sewing for you. How do you do gardening? Well, they got robots that can do it for you. How do you make things? How do you make, like fabrics and stuff? Well, you got computers, robots that can do it. People are no longer able to make things. Oh, you know what else, people? I saw this video. They're making artificial meat. Let me explain. I showed a what do you call it? I uploaded a post. It was a picture of artificial meat and the people that were going to consume it. It was it was made in a laboratory. They take a cell from an animal and then they put it in a petri dish and then they do something to it and then it makes it grow. They can grow organs and then you eat it. I kid you not, people. Just look at that post that put up. Yeah. And they're having them eat it in this high-end restaurant somewhere. See, they make it look high-end to deceive you. Well, they did tell the people what it was. But they wanted, but what they did, they had it in a very bougie, upscale-looking restaurant, so that the people would be more susceptible to want to eat it. Why would you put an artificial meat in your body? These they're creating in a lab, people. A lab. They're also making plastic rice. You heard about that? And it's made in China, and they're giving it to Africans. God have mercy on these people. Oh, brother. Yeah. There are people who hate you, and that's why they want to replace you. They hate us so much, humanity. You notice also the trend that people don't know whether they're male or female. You notice the weird behavior that many of these people are doing. These people who are of that community who are unaliving people in elementary schools and churches. Don't you ever wonder why? Well, I think the system that's really controlling humanity, is controlling the thoughts of these alphys, as I call them, these alphabet soup community people. They don't know who they are. They're lost. They are changing the way you think and what you feel about yourself. I believe that you are being manipulated. I believe that they might be putting stuff in your food, in your, um, let's say, your so-called the jab in the arm. They're putting something in the jab in your arm, and it's altering your genetics. You know, they said that genetics is like an antenna. So they're changing the frequency of your body. Your genetics are your antennas. It attaches to the frequencies that are out there, and they are tapping into you, and they are altering your thought process to behave a certain way. If you're of that community, you don't reproduce, and they want you to be the same, creating artificial food, artificial life, and you worship these people who are promoting it. People, please wake up. Please learn how to, wake up and see what's going on. Don't you wonder why people are behaving the way they are? Why people are easily becoming triggered? You don't think that they're using the DEW to alter your thinking pattern? DEW stands for direct energy weapons. Don't you think that they are using this against you? Don't you wonder why some neighborhoods are so violent? You don't think they're using the DEW against these people to unalive themselves, especially in black neighborhoods in America? Don't you think they might be doing this on some continents on this planet to keep people down? You notice certain continents, they keep down while others they promote. You do the math, people. You decide which one that the you know who I'm referring to. That's what's happening, in my opinion. It's just an opinion, and it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to think differently than me. Why do they have people harming each other because they don't agree with you? Why are you so insecure? There might be something that attach itself to you to make you act that way. What type of food do you eat, people? You better wake up. What type of food are you eating to make you act that way? Because you're not eating real food anymore. These countries, they're not really eating healthy food. Why are Americans, their health expectancy, their life expectancy and the health expectancy is decreasing? Why? I think part of it is the food that they're eating. Start learning how to cook your own food. Yeah. And pray over your food. Pray over food and give thanks. Give thanks for your food. Because that's going to go in your body. You know, you want good things to go in your body. Yeah, yeah. So these are my thoughts about, I was addressing about watching your money. I mentioned about the MoMo scam that hit me today, and to watch your health, about what's happening to people, the choices people are making, you know, their life expectancy, the lowest life expectancies, they said was in Nigeria. And their healthiest, the longest was in Monaco. What's the difference? It's the environment. The environment. Your body, the human body was perfect. And people are making it imperfect. And having you believe that artificial is better and superior. It is designed to replace you. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen, people. Yeah. So this is a spirit journey. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Do some thinking, people, okay? Bye-bye.